Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers have practically built themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv, and welcome to today's show. Today, we are going to be working on the old AMT Ertl 33 Willys coupe. If you are a car guy and you haven't built one of these, I guarantee you've got one in your stash. These kits, it just looks so cool, and so we're all kind of taken in by that. We get the kit and we find out about it and go, oh my gosh. But typical old AMT, yeah, it's kind of a train wreck in a lot of ways, but we are going to do some unconventional things today to get this thing painted. Now, I want to explain real quick that even though I've been doing modeling for over 50 years, I want to say closer to 55 years, I am certainly not an expert. I've got a lot of experience, but quite often I try new things, and I bring you folks along when I try new things. I know that a lot of guys out there will, for example, they'll show you, okay, here's this dragon that I did, and they use the same technique all the time. They've mastered that skill, and, that's great. And so you're looking at a product that, it looks professional because it is, kind of. For me, a lot of what I do, I try new things still to this day. And even though I've got a lot of the same techniques that I always use, there's a few new things from time to time. And that's one of the things we're going to show here is one of the techniques that I use. Number one, for finding flaws in the paint. And number two, well, I'm going to mix up some paint and we're going to shoot a couple of different kinds and brands of paint on this one model. So stick with Mad Dog Merv today as we get working on painting this 33 Willys by AMT. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys how I strip chrome. So this is from that 33 Willys kit, and I like to do this outside. I hate ever having to do it in the house, even in the cold, which is a whole different ball game, but nice day today. So what I'm going to use is this. It's just a cheap heavy duty oven cleaner. I have used Easy Off in the past and it works great, but I have used this one as well, especially on chrome, and it works fine. So anyway, I'm gonna shake it up, and I've got actually it was what I had breakfast on this morning, and I'm gonna try not to overspray much, but just gonna spray it like I'm spray painting it. You see it foaming up really nice there. Actually, I want to touch it with this hand. There we go. Since I've only got one glove, I'm doing the Michael Jackson thing today, just one glove. And do it so that you're in a well-ventilated area, because, yeah, this stuff's not good for you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and put it inside this bag, and I'm going to let it percolate for maybe a half hour or so, and then take a look at it. Okay, so I've got the two pieces in the plastic bag. I sprayed a little bit more in there, and I'm going to let that just kind of sit, percolate on itself for a good half hour before we pull it out and clean it off with some soapy water, and we'll see how it looks. If we get all the chrome off the first time, great. If not, we just do it again. But the idea is to get this chrome off of here so I can, paint these components so they look correct. After cleaning them up, they are ready for some kind of paint. Again, there was way too much chrome, things that shouldn't have been chrome, things that can't be chrome. So I just stripped it all off, and I'll put chrome back on the things I need. The color I'm going to use for the base on all this is just some Rust-Oleum dark steel that I happen to have left over from one of the 1-to-1 scale shells, military shells that I built. So here I've gone ahead and sprayed the parts. I think yeah, this is definitely going to work as a base. Some of these pieces are going to get some chrome on them, and we'll talk about that later. So on the body, I went ahead and assembled the few parts that need to go on the body, and I, on this project, used Mr. Primer Surfacer 1000, and I went ahead and thinned that with some Mr. Color Thinner. I really do like how thin and nice this all goes on and how quickly it flashes off. And here you go. So I went ahead and put this down. You can see the areas that just don't look right. So that top piece and that back trunk piece, when I put those on and I filled them a little bit, there were some just gnarly gaps. This is, I hate to say it, it's a horrible kit. It looks cool when it's built and done right, but trying to put it together, unless you've got some skills in filling seams, it's going to be a nightmare for you. And of course, like I said, all that chrome that you have to strip parts of the chrome off of just to get the glue to hold. So when I built this as a kid, it was just a nightmare. So anyway, I went ahead and put this together, filled the areas, went ahead and sanded them, thought, okay, this looks okay, I should be fine, right? So I'm going to go ahead and mix up my color coats now and start to put down some color. So for the color I want to paint this, I want to do kind of a black cherry. So I'm going to mix some grape pearl from Model Master with some of this, and I can't remember the name of the color, but it's a beautiful red metallic, and I'm going to mix it up, and here's the color I come up with. However, you see with just putting a coat on that I've got some areas here that this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to fill these back in and go over this again. I went ahead and sprayed the body with several coats anyway, just because what I'm going to do is once everything dries up really good, I'm going to mask the lower half and I'm going to paint the upper half a completely different color. And again, sometimes you have to put a gloss coat on or a color coat on to see some of these imperfections. So I went ahead and got my squadron putty out and I filled these areas. Oh yeah, it looks absolutely hideous. But once it dried, I sanded this down with some 400 grit wet dry sandpaper and got it pretty smooth. Went ahead and used my Mr. Surfacer again, sprayed it on there. Looked pretty good. I had a couple of little areas to finish up. By the second time I went around, it looked great and ready to paint. So now that I've got it masked off, the top color I want to spray is Sublime Green. I think this will go really good with that black cherry bottom. And actually, it didn't turn out as dark. The black cherry didn't turn out as dark as I really wanted it to, but I think it's going to work out okay. Here it is sprayed just straight out of the bottle, and you can see the line that I've got there. I think this is going to look really good, but I need a demarcation line, so I'm going to start painting a red line right down the body molding that is actually there molded into the car. I'm going to paint that red, kind of a demarcation line. You can see how nice and smooth this is. It looks great. I like this color combination personally. After I painted my red line on the side, I went ahead and got some of this 2780, which is the high gloss clear coat, sprayed that on. Everything looked good. I got my decals on. I went ahead and put my headlights in. Remember, they were a steel color, so I went ahead, used my Molotow chrome that I like, the liquid chrome, and chromed them up. Did the same with the little emblem on the very front of the grill. Got my decal on, put some Solvaset on to get it to snug down really good. You can see that red demarcation stripe. I like how this is coming along. So, so far, so good. Now, when I shot these paints, again, I use lacquer thinner to thin my enamels with. So just so we are really clear on that, even that high gloss clear, I shot with lacquer thinner and the clear mixed in. Okay, so we'll get back to the body in a minute. I'm going to move on to getting the tires ready, which they needed some cleanup. I've gone ahead and sanded the treads so they look a little bit used. I'm not going for a race car look. I'm going for a street machine look on this. So for the chrome parts, I went ahead and took some of my liquid chrome out of the pen. I always de-pen it, take it out of the pen, and put it in my airbrush or just use it on my brush. But in this case, I put it in my airbrush and I went ahead and sprayed the parts that I wanted to have chrome. Now, it's not that bright, shiny chrome, and I get that, but sometimes I think that effect is a little overdone. So here we are. Here is the finished product on the body. You can see the firewall. I've done that with that liquid chrome. Around the front windshield, I've done that with the liquid chrome. The door handles, the tail lights, the for the license plate. Thank you. Yeah, the license plate holder. But you can see how this looks so far. It's coming along very well. Went ahead and put the windows in, and I'm happy with the results. I'm happy with where it's at. So in the next segment, we'll go ahead and get this beautiful 427 single overhead cam engine put together, and we'll get it finished. So we'll see you again soon for part number 2.